Good evening and welcome to Knox Makers Tuesday evening show and share. We do this every Tuesday, rain or shine, holiday or not, because we like to get together and show the stuff that we're making. So, if I had the list of what people are going to share tonight, I would tell you who's first. Larry is hooking me up, I believe. Thank you, Larry. What would I do without you? All right. First on the list tonight, with farm animals, I thought I heard something, is Amy.
Hi everyone. I feel like I usually forget to bring works in progress. I'll just think to bring things when I'm done, but I figured this time is a good time that I remember to actually bring something I'm working on. So my brother I feel like I tell people this all the time, my brother just got married a couple months ago, and he and my sister-in-law want kids. She's not pregnant yet that I'm aware of. It probably won't happen for another few years. I have no idea when it's gonna happen, but I thought I would make them a cute little baby mobile, and I asked them, make some animals, what do you want? My brother said all kinds of birds. My sister-in-law said farm animals, which is a better idea. So I'm making farm animals, and my brother said, yeah, that's a better idea, so he agrees, it's not an insult. And the other thing they agreed on was that he said lots of sheep. I don't know if 3 counts, but I ran out of yarn in these colors, so I wonder if I can zoom. Where's the zoom out button again?
It's up on the head. It's up here on the side.
There we go. So I thought it'd be cute if I make a bunch of, this is wool, and I thought it'd be cute if I felted them. So I brought them home for the holidays to use my parents' laundry, as you do. And I went the easy route of just after I made them, I just tossed them in the laundry on a sanitized cycle that's like extra hot water. It worked really well. The stitches all tightened a lot. And I didn't have, it's a little hard to see with this lighting, but I embroidered their eyes, which will be more obvious on some of the other animals that are lighter. And because I went the easy route of just tossing it in the laundry instead of scalding my hands by hand felting, the legs are a little bit wonky, but I think that is a thing I can fix at some point. The nice thing about doing this so early, when she's not even pregnant yet, is that there's things that I don't really want to deal with that I can just put off, and it's not like I'm behind. So all the legs are a little bit wonky, but I think they turned out really cute in general. And I was thinking of other animals I could make. This is not done yet. This is a horse. I'll just hold it like this for a second, and then I'll put it against a lighter background. So it's still, it took me forever to figure out how to get the shape. I actually started from here, and then I went outwards like this, and then down like this, and then I extended it this way, like out toward the butt. So even though this is multiple lengths of yarn, this is all one, aside from the ears, this is all like one unit rather than multiple things sewn together, which took forever to figure out. And there are other ways it's a little wonky. These front feet are a little weird, but I think overall it's like a pretty good one solid object kind of thing. And I just need to get some horsehair, like real horsehair, to add a mane and a tail. And then, so I already know how to crochet. I've shown a bunch of things like amigurumi I've made before. But I was home or at least visiting my parents for the holidays, and decided to pick up some new crafts that I haven't done before. So I actually drafted this pattern myself, and I used wool felt, like fabric wool felt, and I drafted a pattern. I drew it and then cut it out on paper, and then taped it together to do a few drafts to kind of model it before I did it with the actual fabric. The legs go outward slightly, but I think overall it turned out pretty well. So I sewed it together by hand, and then I needle felted these little patches and the udder and the mouth on. I figured needle felting was really fun, so I entirely needle felted these chickens. So the body of this is, fabric sewn and stuffed with polyester batting, but this is solid wool all the way into the inside. And it's just needle felting is you just stab it over and over and try not to hit your hands until it just felts together. Anyway, I'm gonna make a pig, and I thought it'd be fun to have, because this is crocheted, and this is sewn, and this is needle felted, I thought it would be fun to have like a pig that was also texturally at least different, a different kind of fabric maybe. I'm like, if anyone has ideas on what a pig might be, like what might fit as a pig, I would love input. I've been thinking about sewing it out of leather, but I'm not decided yet. Anyway, that is a work in progress, over 3 minutes, so sorry. That's okay. Anyway, that's it.
That's great, Amy. I can't wait to see the pig. Next, we have something that is super cool, and you can actually see the finished product in arts and crafts. I tested it myself. I test drove it. It rides great. So if you get a chance, you should take advantage of that. So Bob Berry is going to show us the final rendition of the building of a rocking chair.
Woo! Well, it's glad to see somebody's excited. Let's see, I have all my pictures in a folder. Unfortunately, the folder's getting pretty big. Let's see, I just wanted to remind you, and of course the picture changed, where we started. How do you go down? Down. There you go. I apologize, this is part 5. Some of you all have probably been here for all 4 parts previously, but I started out in October making a rocking chair for my sister's 50th wedding anniversary gift, and for some reason my brother-in-law wanted Osage orange, which I had never used, and it's a really painful wood to use for a wood project. It's very heavy, very dense, it doesn't sand easily, and the splinters are like needles, I tell you what. Anyway, I started with these 4 pieces here. This piece over here is a walnut piece that I had laying around. Let's see, where I want to go next is, I think the last part 4 I showed you, I can't remember where I was, but since we met last, I had to work on the headrest, and you can see the chair outside like Russell said. No, how do I get this back under here? There we go. It focuses eventually. So the chair it's a big piece of wood that makes the seat, and then you craft all these legs, 4 of them. You glue the legs to the seat. You make up a couple of rockers for the bottom. The rockers are 9-ply glue up. You make a headrest. That's a whole bunch of pieces glued together in a 20-degree arc. And then you got to cut that on bandsaw. Then you got to sand it for like 2 years to get it smooth. And if you look at my rocking chair out there, I'm not done with the headrest. So the headrest still needs some fitment on it. I made a mistake of cutting there's a curve at the top. You can see right here at the very top, it kind of curves to the back. I made a mistake because I wasn't reading my book. I have a 250-page book on how to build this rocking chair, and every time I build one, this is number 12, every time I build one, I have to read the whole book over because there's so many steps that if I don't read the book and follow exactly, I do something out of sequence like this. I cut the curve too early, but then I had to take the headrest off the chair and drill holes in the bottom of it. Well, now I've got this curve that I can't put in my clamp. It was a lot of trouble. You have to build these back braces. There's 7 of them. The book says build 8 just in case you break one. You never break one. I've built 12. I've never broken one. Now I do mess one up every now and then. You have to clamp them and a jig, and you cut basically a mortise and tenon. The back braces all have tenons, and the seat and the headrest have mortises to hold the back braces. They don't glue in, they sit in between, and they're captured, and they swivel and they flex, and that's one of the things that makes the rocking chair kind of comfortable. This is the 9-ply rocker with an extra 8 pieces glued up here at the bottom so that it can transition gradually into the leg. So there's like 18 pieces or 17, I forget how many that adds up to. And then you have to drill through, and you have to pocket a hole for a plug. And that's kind of what they look like before you run them through the router and round them over. And that's another picture. And then this, I'm putting the arms on right here. You build this crazy jig to stabilize the arm, because you have to match sand the end of the arm to the back leg, and you want that to be a nice, perfect fit. So you stabilize everything, then you run I use a little pull saw, a little Japanese pull saw with a piece of sandpaper glued with double-sided tape to it, and I run that through till everything fits up nice and tight. That takes like an hour or two. It's like everything takes an hour or two. Or 4 or 5 sometimes. So that's kind of before I started sanding right there. And then that's after, I think. I think I got it fitted up pretty well. You can be the judge when you go look at it. Oh, there's my little sanding tool right there, if you can see that. What else? Do that again. And then I ended up, I used like a 36 grit sanding pad on a 4.5-inch angle grinder to do a lot of the heavy carving, and for some reason that burned this wood really bad. It put a really dark burn in it. Well, I got this scorp for Christmas, and it's a great little tool to dig in there and sculpt out all that burnt wood. Only took a couple hours, but you know. The scorp, yeah. I didn't bring it. But it's where's Greenhoe? He would recognize it. Scorp. It's a curved draw knife essentially. All right, so I'm starting to sand on, and I passed around some arms once before. If y'all remember the arms that we passed around, they're real thick and chunky, and you got to weigh about half of that. And so what's left is kind of a thinner, more nicely profiled thing. Here I've got the rockers kind of mounted. You have to do a match sanding on all the rockers to the legs. You have to do that match sanding again. This is how the curve from the seat into the legs goes, and it's just a whole lot of sanding. So you finally get to something that looks kind of like this, and you say, oh, I'm getting there. Well, there's only about 40 more hours of sanding left. And so I'm sanding and sanding, and oh, here's my, I got this drill with this sanding drum on it that I use, and it makes so much dust. I put a tent around my work area to keep the dust kind of captured, but it gets all over you, so I wear this little smock thing, or this, whatever it is, Tyvek suit. That helps. And finally, it starts looking like that, and you think, I'm getting close. And then you start working on the back braces. Each one of those back braces, there's 7 of them. You got to handle it. You got to route every corner, so there's 4 passes on the router. And then you got to sand. And then you got to cut those tendons, and it's just a whole lot of work. I don't know why I do it, but there I am. I'm having so much fun. Doesn't that look like a fun? Isn't that what you want to do in your off time? All right. Buy the book from haltaylor.com. He'll tell you how to build a rocking chair, and you can build your own. It's only 250 pages, and then you got to have another $50 worth of templates and drawings, and then, you know, 120 hours. I've done 120 hours. I've been keeping track. I'm almost done. Almost. Not quite. It's out there if you want to take a look, have a little rock. just ask if you'd have studs in your belt or dangly keys like I have, just keep them off the wood. Thank you so much. Hope I didn't bore you too much.
Bob, that's terrific. It just amazes me, some of the things that folks here make, I think from baby chickens to rocking chairs. Is this a long arm quilt? Is it, who is that, Tan? Jan? Tan. Sorry, Tan.
My handwriting's not great.
No, that's okay.
So, for Christmas, my mother-in-law asked for a quilt. She asked for that December 1st. Oh, here. Trying to figure out how to show this whole thing. I guess toss it over the podium. But I had this that we put together out of, we call them UFOs, which are unfinished fabric objects. And so I had put that top together, and then I had my first class here was Sue's Quiltinator authorization. So I used this as an excuse to test out the Quiltinator. Did a lot of learning with this. Didn't break anything, so not too terribly bad. But I learned primarily what not to do when it comes to figuring out where you're supposed to put your stitches. I started out doing them inside of certain colored blocks, thinking that would look good, and then I realized that it looked terrible, and moving on to doing it in kind of light colored blocks. See if I can get this under here for Jens, so you can see some of the stitching. So it's not pretty at all, but you can see kind of how I started going off in these more color blocks, thinking that would look nice. And then as I progressed with the quilt, we started moving on to doing more straight lines within the whites of the quilt itself. I think the biggest learning opportunity here was what to do with your backing. I stretched the backing, but I didn't double check my placement. So I ended up with sort of gaps and gathers. Let's see if I can get that to show here. Sort of gaps and gathers within the backing itself that we had to work around when we were binding it. But I think for a first attempt at doing a long-armed quilt, it's not the worst I could have done, and it definitely was, again, a good learning opportunity before I took something more, important and pretty to this whole thing.
How long did that whole thing take?
6 hours, well, the top itself was like 5 hours, and then quilting it was 6.5 hours. So, and I also learned that you should not stand in front of the quiltinator for 6.5 hours straight in tennis shoes. That was a mistake that I will not be repeating. Any questions? Yes?
Were you quilting like within each block, or were you crossing those lines in between bigger sections?
I was going layer by layer. So yeah, basically within the block, I would do the block and then I'd move over. But I was trying to stay within each section that's racked up on the quiltinator. So when you put it on, you get like an 18-inch stretch. And so I would do that stretch, make sure I was completed on that stretch, and then roll it up and do the next stretch.
Was your pattern freehand, or did you have some sort of pencil?
100% freehand. I went into this being like, I have no idea what pattern I want to do, and I couldn't remember what Sue had told us about putting the ruler on it, so I completely freehanded the whole thing. Any other questions? Yes.
For those of us who have no idea how to make a quilt, what are you talking about, the quiltinator?
Yeah, so the Quiltinator is a long arm sewing machine effectively. You can see it over in the fiber art section. It allows you to rack up a whole quilt at once and kind of sew all of your layers together in one go versus hand quilting, which is what I typically do, where you put it on a frame and then push a needle and thread through the whole thing, or pushing it under a personal sewing machine. Cool. I will go ahead and pass this around then. Thank you.
Thank you, Tan. We need to talk to Bob about taking a break in between quilting and check out that rocking chair for a few minutes. Oh, I didn't know we had this. Lori has something that's kind of a light. I'm excited.
It's funny, I didn't even know you were presenting today. So, hello. So my daughter asked me, you guys know I usually make weird stuff, right? It's usually furry and usually weird. My daughter asked me to make something that wasn't weird. And she sent me this picture and she's like, Mom, can you make these? And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm like, I can go to the makerspace and figure it out. So we just celebrated Christmas earlier last week, and so I decided I was going to make them. And they turned out really good. So mine are a little bit different than what they had. I actually used some of the wood here. Yeah.
What is it?
So, oh yeah, I'll explain. Yeah, so it is a candle. So it is a candle, and it has a little box of matches that go right in it. So the matches stay right in there, and you can open them up. And I actually made the candles from scratch myself, first time making candles. And the biggest thing was asking the kids, I'm like, do you want wood wicks or regular wicks? Wood wicks or regular? So trying to organize that because they were both traveling around. So I ended up doing wood wicks, and the scented candle, it's kind of like smoky leather marshmallow flavor, scented. So I made little candles, and so I used a Forstner drill to drill out the hole. And then, is that right? The Forstner, there we go, yes. Hillary was here, and I bugged him a bunch. I'm like, Hillary, what would I use for this? What tool would I use for this? And then I used the table saw for this part right here, and then the matches fit perfectly in there, and then I can always make more candles to give to the kids. So this is Harry's set, actually, so I made a set of 2. And then surprisingly, my mom wants a set, so I'm gonna make some for her too. So it is something that's not weird, and it's totally functional, and I'm really excited I made it. So it was cool. Any questions?
How long did it take?
It took probably, like, it'll probably, if I make them again, it'll probably only take me like 45 minutes or so, or maybe an hour and a half, because I have to make the candles. Oh, the other thing too is I sealed it with mineral oil and local beeswax. So I make a salve with it, and I sealed it with that. So it took me a couple hours to make it, especially trying to figure out how to do the candles. I've never done that before. And sanding it down and figuring out the size. I'd probably make them a little wider next time. But I'm really excited. It was something kind of fun, and it lights up. Yes? I don't know what the wood is. It was from our scrap of wood that we have all the wood over on the side, and I just cut like a little bit more than 2 inches and 4 inches, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. So if anybody knows what wood's over there, let me know, but it's in the scraps, and I just kind of threw it together. So, yes?
I actually have 2 questions. First is, what kind of candles are they? Like soy wax, beeswax, whatever?
So I used a mixture of soy and glycerin, because I've heard that with that, it works better with the wood wicks. So, and we haven't lit these yet. I have one at home that I made a sample, and I was able to light it, and it lit pretty well. So, yeah. You can smell it. It has a mixture. I went to like the candle store, and they had dollar sample things. So it smells like leather, coffee, marshmallows, and a little bit of rosemary. So, yes. All right. Thank you.
That's super cool. And from looking at that wood just on the picture, I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that's tree wood. Next, we have Isaac with Popcorn Be Gone. I know how to do that.
Do you?
Yep.
Well, I've just learned.
My partner and I have a tradition that each holiday season we do a home improvement project together, or at least we start one. I mean, and this year the concept was to transform her super pink, girly home office room into a dark academia-inspired magic den of witchery. Unfortunately, we live in a house from the 1980s, which means that the ceiling in every room is covered in popcorn. And I mean, I think that's really loathsome just in general, but also it's like totally incompatible with the vibe that we're going from. I always had the idea that you were stuck with popcorn ceilings, but I learned that you're not, and so I wanted to share that with you. If you would like to be rid of your loathsome popcorn ceilings, the first thing that you must do is test to determine if they're made out of asbestos, because something that I learned recently is until very recently they often were. And so you have to take samples and send them to a laboratory, and for $35 they'll tell you if it would be a bad idea to take that ceiling down. Thankfully, I got the green light, and once you obtain that, then the next thing you want to do is to create a Dexter-style kill room. You want to cover every surface in plastic, the walls, the floors, the furniture, seal it all up with tape. Make sure you've covered everything because you're getting ready to make a wicked mess. This is also a good way to sort of evaluate your partner subtly. As it turns out, my girlfriend can whip up a forensically sound kill room like that, so I am on notice. After you protect the surfaces, then you're ready to make the magic happen, and I am equipped to tell you that the magic consists of hot water and Fabuloso. The internet told me this. Basically, you see I've got a little $15 spray jobby. I used a cup of Fabuloso and a gallon of hot water and mixed that jazz up. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not entirely sold on the Fabuloso. I think that may be like a magic feather situation, but I did see some people say you have to have it, and I didn't see anybody say that it wouldn't work if you did have it, so I thought, yeah, I'll spring for the Fabuloso and make my room ever so fresh. So mix that stuff up, and then you've got to apply it to the popcorn ceiling. And that's kind of tricky because what you're trying to accomplish is to saturate that texture without actually getting into the drywall. And I have no idea how anybody would figure that out. Because, like, is there paint? Is there not paint? How thick is the texture? There's lots of variables here. For me, I found I had to keep adding material, the fluid to the ceiling until it was just almost dripping and leave it for like 10 minutes. When you have gotten to that point, then you're ready to do something incredibly satisfying. But you do need a very high-tech tool. So you take your scrapey thing and you use duct tape and put it on a stick. And at that point, you can reach up to the ceiling without a ladder, which is amazing. And you won't believe me unless you do this, but the texture almost removes itself. It is great. And so you just sort of gently nudge it and it just starts coming down in these great big sheets. And I may never have experienced this level of satisfaction and pleasure in my life before. It is really, really good to see that filth fall down from the ceiling. It's boss. And then, of course, when you're done, you can just sort of like wrap it all up and entomb it and throw it away, right? A sensible person then will like start floating drywall mud up there and making the ceiling all pretty and flat. But we put up a new magical ceiling that maybe I'll show you later. Anyway, if you have popcorn ceilings, do not despair. Get rid of them because they're terrible.
Thank you, Isaac. Terrific project. Oh, before we forget, hi, Dodie. We never can forget that. Last but not least, Mr. David Martin has a name badge. Whose name is on it? Your name. How cool is that?
I have once again blown the opportunity to create a false identity. So, this seemed like the obvious thing to do if you wanted to learn OpenSCAD. And OpenSCAD is kind of like FreeCAD, only instead of this big tool palette and all these little things, it's basically a scripting language for creating stuff. And there's two-dimensional and three-dimensional shapes that you can basically just stick together with code, or two-dimensional things. Like in this case, you do a two-dimensional thing and then you do a linear extrusion on it and you make it thicker. So this is 4 millimeters thick, and it thinks that the name letters, which is basically, it uses fonts, which I thought was great, and that's like 5.4 millimeters. And the practical upshot, by the time you've done all this, is that you've got raised lettering. It's hard to tell, kind of. But the whole point of this was to learn OpenSCAD. And the learning curve is not trivial, but it's not that bad. But there's stuff I don't know how to do. And one of those is I don't know how, with a 3D printer that only has one nozzle, how to say, hold up a minute while I change filament to a dark color. So instead, this is basically Sharpie. Well, and that has something going for it, I guess. But, I mean, really cool would have been to, stop it at 4 millimeters and then change it over to some other color like black or gray or something, or orange, or not orange, blue maybe, complementary colors, and let it finish its last 1.4 millimeters with a different color and hope it holds on. And that would have been cooler, and I still am trying to figure that out. I have no idea how to do that. Anyway, that's my great story, and I made key fobs and everything. So I've got one that says storage, and another one that says, I forget what else. I've made 3 or 4, and some of them are name tags, and some of them are key fobs, and it's kind of wonderful. Anyway, that's my great story. Learn OpenSCAD if you're bored enough. Question? Help?
If you were to devise a secret identity, what would it be?
If I told you that, I'd have to change it again. So let's go with Spider Bat for now.
All right, thank you all for sharing. Do we have any people here that are here for the first time ever? Wow. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming to see us. We hope we have been hospitable. We're a pretty good crew of folks, if I say so myself. I would like to mention that we had a lot of stuff going on, such as January 24th, we're going to be making a paper mache bird, and that is free. I don't know who's, Matt, is that after show and share? Sam, sorry, Sam. It's Saturday, okay.
Saturday, and there will be food.
Ah, food. Come make a paper mache bird and you can eat it when you're done. And Lori will bring little fires for you to cook it over. All right, January 31st, small repairs and hand sewing. I'll just mention that now that the new year is here, there are a lot of new classes posted. Go to knoxmakers.org/events, and that way you can find out what classes are being posted. I know a lot of people ask me in December, I want to take this class, I want to take that class, I don't see any classes. I said, be patient. In January, you'll see a lot of classes. So thank you, czars and teachers, for not making a liar out of me, because there are lots of classes up now. A very important announcement, we will be having our annual meeting the third Tuesday of the month, which will be, does anybody know how to work a calendar and can tell me that, because I don't see it?
20th.
The 20th. That is the one evening per year that our gathering is members only. Sorry, no visitors, because it's the annual meeting for members. You will, sir?
No live stream.
And no, that's right, no live stream. Thank you, Billy. I had forgotten about that part. So you can't watch it over the interwebs either. But I would encourage members to come because we'll have a recap of the year. It's like a business meeting, if you will. We'll be voting on board members. So we always like for people to invite people to come and see us on the third Tuesday because that's our normal time for a cookout. And for those of you that are new or aren't familiar with Knox Makers, every third Tuesday, you can come around 6:30, and we will provide you with cheeseburgers, hot dogs, perhaps Jerry's ribs, Joe's beans. I mean, really good stuff. And you can do that any time of year except January. So don't forget, okay? That's all I have for announcements, unless I have forgotten something that somebody should tell me.
What's happening after show and share?
What is it NMO? Oh, my word. For those of you that may need to know NMO, that is new members onboarding. If you want to learn more about Knox Makers, you are welcome to stay for new members onboarding, so you can learn about our culture, our kind of lackadaisical, that's not the right word, but our lax rules. We don't have a lot of rules. We like to play. Sorry, Isaac. I mean, we just like to come and have fun, right? But if you want to learn more about Knox Makers, you really should attend this because it's very entertaining and you learn all kinds of good things. Incidentally, it is a requirement for membership. If you do want to become a member, sometime during your trial membership, you will have to attend this so that you'll know all about us. But you don't have to be a trial member to come to new members onboarding to learn all about us. Okay, I forgot one thing. What else did I forget? It's because I can't make my phone work. I'm sorry. I've been too lackadaisical today. I apologize. Okay, is that it? All right, Rosemary, I'll be home in a little while, and let's go to the shop and make cool stuff.